Hi everybody, welcome back to theCUBE's coverage of AWS 2021 reInvent. You're watching theCUBE and I'm really excited. We're going to go outside the storage box, I like to say, with Mai Lan Tomsen Bukovec, who's the Vice President of Block and Object Storage, and Wayne Duso, who's the VP of Storage, Edge, and Data Governance. Guys, great to see you again. We saw you at Storage Day, the 15-year anniversary of AWS, of course the first product service ever. So awesome to be here, isn't it? Wow.
So much energy in the room. It's so great to see customers learning from each other, learning from AWS, learning from the things that you're observing as well.
A lot of companies decided not to do physical events. I think you guys are on the right side of history. I'm sure you weren't exactly positive how many people were going to show up. Everybody showed. I mean, it's a packed house here, so.
Welcome to number 10.
Yeah. All right, so let's get right into it. News of the week.
So much to say. Wayne, you want to kick us off with File?
We had a great set of announcements that Mai Lan talked about yesterday in her talk, and a couple of them in the file space, specifically a new member of the FSx family. And if you remember that the Amazon FSx is for customers who want to run fully managed versions of third-party and open source file systems on AWS. And so yesterday we announced a new member. It's FSx for OpenZFS.
Okay, cool, and there's more.
Well, there's more. I mean, one of the great things about the new managed file service for OpenZFS is it's powered by Graviton.
It is powered by Graviton and all of the capabilities that AWS brings in terms of networking, storage, and compute to our customers.
So this is really important. I want the audience to understand this. So I've talked on theCUBE about how a large proportion, let's call it 30% of the CPU cycles are kind of wasted really on things like offloads, and we could be much more efficient. So Graviton, much more efficient, lower power, better price performance, lower cost. Amazon is now on a new curve. Your cycles are faster for processors, and you can take advantage of that in storage. Storage uses compute, right?
That's right. In fact, you have that big launch as well for Lustre with Graviton.
We did, in fact. So with the announcement of OpenZFS, we also announced the next-gen Lustre offering, and both of these offerings provide a 5x improvement in performance. For example, now with Lustre, customers can drive up to 1 terabyte per second of throughput, which is simply amazing. And with OpenZFS, right out of the box at GA, 1 million IOPS at sub-millisecond latencies, taking advantage of Graviton, taking advantage of our storage and networking capabilities.
And that's, well, I guess it's for HPC workloads, but what's the difference these days between HPC, big data, data intensive, a lot of AI stuff? Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of intersection between all of those different types of workloads, Dave, as you said. And you know, it all depends and it all matters. And this is the reason why having the suite of capabilities, if you would, the members of the family is so important to our customers.
We've talked a lot about, it's just really, you can't think about traditional storage as a traditional storage anymore. And certainly in your world, it's not a box. It's really a data platform, but maybe you could give us your point of view on that, Mai Lan.
Yeah, I think, you know, if we take a step back and we think about how does AWS do storage, we think along multiple dimensions. We have the dimension that Wayne's talking about, where you bring together the power of compute and storage for these managed file services that are so popular. You and I talked about NetApp ONTAP. Wayne went into some detail on that with you as well, and that's been enormously popular. And so that whole dimension of these managed file services is all about where is the customer today and how can we help them get to the cloud. But then you think about the other things that we're also imagining, and we're reimagining how customers want to grow those applications and scale them. And so a great example here at reInvent is, let's just take the concept of archive. So many people, when they think about archive, they think about taking that piece of data and putting it away on tape, putting it away in a closet somewhere and never pulling it out. We don't think about archive like that. Archive just happens to be data that you just aren't using at the moment. But when you need it right away. And that's why we built a new storage class that we launched just yesterday, Dave. And it's called Glacier Instant Retrieval. It has retrieval in milliseconds, just like an S3 storage class. It has the same pricing of 0.4 of a cent as Glacier Archive.
So, what's interesting, at the analyst event today, Adam got a question about, and somebody was poking at him, analysts can be snarky sometimes, about price declines and so forth. And he said, one of the things that's not always shown up, and we don't always get credit for lowering prices, but we might lower costs. And there's the archive and deep archive is an example of that. Maybe you could explain that point of view.
Yeah, the way we look at it is that our customers, when they talk to us about the cost of storage, they talk to us about the total cost of the storage. And it's not just storing the data, it's retrieving it and using it. And so we have done an amazing amount across all the portfolio around reducing costs. We have Glacier Instant Retrieval, which is 68% cheaper than standard infrequent access. That's a big cost reduction. We have EBS Snapshots Archive, which we introduced yesterday, 75% cheaper to archive a snapshot. And these are the type of capabilities that just transform the total cost. And in some cases, we just eliminate cost. And so the Glacier Storage class, all bulk retrievals of data from the Glacier Storage class, 5 to 12 hours, it's now free of charge, Dave. You don't even have to think about it. We didn't even reduce it, we just eliminated the cost of that data retrieval.
And additive to what Mai Lan said around archiving, if you look at what we've done throughout the entire year, an interesting statistic that was brought up yesterday is over the course of 2021, between our respective teams, we've launched over 105 capabilities for our customers throughout this year. And in some of them, for instance on the file side, for EFS we launched one zone which reduced customer costs by 47%. You can now achieve on EFS a cost of roughly 4.3 cents per gigabyte month. On FSX, we've reduced costs up to 92% on Lustre and FSX for Windows, and with the introduction of ONTAP and OpenCFS, we continue those forward, including customers' ability to compress and dedupe against those costs, so they end up seeing a considerable savings even over what our standard low prices are.
So 100 plus, can I call them releases? And how can you categorize those? Are they features? Do they fall into?
Well, they range from major services, like what we've launched with OpenZFS, to major features. And really, 95 of those were launched before reInvent. And so really what you have between the different teams that work on storage is you have this relentless drive to improve all the storage platforms, and we do it all across the course of the year. All across the course of the year, and in some cases, the benefit shows up at no cost at all to a customer.
How did this, it seems like you're on an accelerated pace. S3, EBS, and then now like hundreds of services. I guess the question is, how come it took so long, and how is it accelerating now? Is it just like there was so much focus on compute before, or you had to get that in place, but now it's just rapidly accelerating?
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, we took the time to count this year, and so we came to you with this number of 106. That acceleration has been in place for many years. We just didn't take the time to count.
That's correct.
So this has been happening for years and years. Wayne and I have been with AWS for a long time now.
10 years. For
10 plus years, and really that velocity that we're talking about right now, that has been happening every single year, which is where you have storage today. And I got to tell you, innovation is in our DNA, and we are not going to stop now.
So 10 years, okay, so it was really the first 5 years was kind of slow, and then...
No,
I don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's true at all.
No.
Good try. If you look at the services that we have the most complete portfolio of any cloud provider when it comes to storage and data. And so over the years, we've added to the foundation, which is S3, and the foundation, which is EBS. We've come out with a number of storage services in the file space. Now you have an entire suite of persistent data stores within AWS, and the teams behind those that are able to accelerate that pace. Just to give you an example, when I joined 10 years ago, AWS launched within that year roughly 120, 128 services or features. Our teams together this year have launched almost that many just in this space. So AWS continues to accelerate, the storage teams continue to accelerate, and as Mai Lan said, we just started counting.
That's the thing, and if you think about those first 5 years, that was laying the baseline to launch S3, to launch EBS, to get that foundation in place, get lifecycle policies in place. But really, I think you're just going to see an even faster acceleration.
I think so.
That number's going up, Dave.
No, that's what I'm saying. It does appear that way. And you had to build a team. You had to put teams in place, and so that's part of the equation. But again, I come back to, it's not even, I don't even think of it as storage anymore. It's data, data lake is here to stay. You might not like the term, we always used to joke about it, data ocean, but data lake is here to stay. 200,000 data lakes now, we heard Adam talk about this morning. I think it was Adam. No, it was Swami. 200,000 data lakes in your customer base now. And people are adding value to that data in new ways, injecting machine intelligence. SageMaker's a big piece of that, tying it in. I know a lot of customers are using Glue as catalogs, and which I'm like, wow, is Glue a catalog? Or, I mean, it's just so flexible. So what are you seeing customers do with that base of data now in driving new business value? Because I've said, last decade plus has been about IT transformation, and now we're seeing business transformation. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, the base of every data lake is going to be S3. S3 has over 200 trillion objects now, Dave, and if you think about that, if you took every person on the planet, each of those people would have 26,000 S3 objects. It's gotten that big. And if you think about the base of data with 200 trillion plus objects, really, the opportunity for innovation is limitless. And a great example for that is it's not just business value, it's really the new customer experiences that our customers are inventing. The NFL, they have that application called Digital Athlete.
Yep.
Where they started off with 10,000 labeled images. They're up to 20,000 labeled images now, and they're all using it to drive machine learning models that help predict and support the players on the field when they start to see things unfold that might cause injury. That is a brand new experience, and it's only possible with vast amounts of data.
An additive to what Mai Lan said, you talk about business transformation. We are in the age of data. We represent storage services, but what we really represent is where customers hold one of their most valuable assets, which is their data. And that set of data is only growing, and the ability to use that data, to leverage that data for value, whether it's ML training, whether it's analytics, that's only accelerated. This is the feedback we get from our customers. This is where these features and new capabilities come from. So that's what's really accelerating our pace.
Guys, I wish we had more time. I have to have you back, because we're on a tight clock here, but so great to see you both, especially live. I hope we get to do more of this in 2022.
We do too.
I'm an optimist.
All right. Okay, and keep it right there, everybody. This is Dave Vellante for theCUBE, your leader in live tech coverage. Right back.